Hey guys, it's Maria Park, and welcome to Approach the Nerd. This is our live stream for the Owl House Season 2, Episode 3, entitled Echoes of the Past. We did not get Lumity this week, which is fine because I do love this show for more than just Lumity. We did, however, get a very good episode revolving around the family that is now the Owl House, or as I like to call them, Owl House family. This is a very king-centric episode. It begins with Luce trying to come up with new, glyphs because she's been teaching, Ida and Lilith glyph magic since they can no longer do their own magic. And Lilith has really progressed, like a prodigy in the use of glyph magic, which we learn more in this episode. And Luce, being the teacher, she wants to come up with something new. And she manages to come up with an invisibility spell, but she has to hold her breath in order to use it. I don't know why. I'm really curious to see which symbols she mixed together to make this glyph, because it works, but you literally have to face death in order to maintain it. So I think that's kind of a drawback. But again, sometimes I do like the fact that there's a handicap in magic. So maybe that's a good thing too. So while she's showing this off to Lilith, and Lilith is being, her prodigy self, drawing glyphs and saying things like, my favorite thing is watching the paint dry. It's just crazy. We do get to see that Husifer, which is Lilith's pet name for him, is, very, very cute, by the way. I think he calls her something too, but I can't remember what he calls her. I have to go back and look at it. But I love the relationship between Lil and Husifer because they are really cute. I know it's very weird, but I will say this. King is going on about being a king again, which he normally does. And, Lil's like, no, I don't believe this. Don't pacify him. And of course, Luce is like, we just kind of play along, Ida, me and Ida just let him have this fantasy, even though we know it's pretty much full of poop. And Lil is not somebody who does like to pacify people. She basically says there's no such thing as a king of demons. Demons don't even work together, basically. And so King's like, well, I'm going to take you to my castle. And, Luce is like, oh, okay, we're going on a trip, So basically Lil, Luce and King are going to visit the castle. And then Lil says, Husifer, do you want to come with us? And I don't know what he did. It sounded like he was chomping himself apart, like he was splitting himself apart. Now, in theory, if this is an owl worm or whatever, Hoot's like some kind of worm that can split into two parts, then technically he can regrow himself. But when you look at the door, and you see Luce like retching, like she's about to vomit, then to me, it just seems like he bit half of his body off and then put himself in like this travel bag. It was very creepy. I do love this show, but sometimes it can be a little gross, so Luce is in this little travel backpack that Lil is going to be carrying. And I thought that was really interesting. So they get to this island that apparently is not on any maps. And, this already has Lil. Like, Lil is one of those characters that she's such a nerd that anything that she finds that's historical or something that she can learn. And she's all up on like the fact that these symbols are new and she doesn't know what they mean. The language is new. She's in her nerd element. So now for her, it's less about King and pacifying him and letting, basically pretending that, yes, this is your castle, sweet child, and more about her desire to learn new things. I do see you in the chat. Hi, Ryan and Mercenary. How are you? So they go into this castle, but unfortunately there's like this kind of Terminator type entity that's guarding the first level. And we knew something was up with this because when they flew off to go on this adventure, and they left a note behind, and King's like, basically we're going to King's castle. Ida's like, oh no. So we already know that she knows something that nobody else knows. So they get there and this thing is trying to like attack them. And nothing they do, they don't have strong enough magic to take it on, even though again, Lilith and glyph combat are very powerful at this point. She's gotten to the point where she can hold her own using just glyph, just the glyphs that she's learned. So I am seeing why Lil is considered a prodigy, but they basically get forced out and Ida shows up in time and like basically faces off and is throwing her little, I think there's sun bombs. I can't remember what they're called. I know they mentioned them in another episode, but she's basically holding it off and she does hurt her arm a little bit, But when they leave the castle, the entity can't leave the barrier. So he can't get through the barrier of the front door. And that's when Ida comes clean to King that she actually found him and he looked like a little puppy and he was stacking things. And she basically took him home. And she handed his horn to him. And so he starts having a flashback of being like a little pet. And, you know, his whole feast that he had in his mind, his king's feast, was actually a fly. And, you know, his all of his subjects were little mounds of like rocks and stuff that he built up. And so all of this was Ida pacifying him like you would a child that has an overactive imagination, because it made King happy. And she's the one that basically started calling him King. So we're at this point, we're thinking, oh, wow, so this explains so much. But then it gets interesting. And that's because when Luce is talking to King and he's really upset and he runs away and she finds him on the beach, because there's really nowhere you can go on this island. He's like kind of closer to the water. They have a conversation and Luce says something else doesn't track. You kind of had this memory of falling. And if you're falling from on top of the tower. We never made it up there. So we need to see what's up there. Maybe that can give a clue to who you are, your past. Because at this point, he doesn't know who he is. So little King or baby King, he agrees and he goes and finds Ida. Ida apologizes again. He boops her on the nose and he's like, no more lies or secrets. And I'm like, they're so cute. The whole Owl House family is cute. So they all decide to distract. So Lil and Husafer are going to go distract the entity that's trying to kill them, basically, while, they get the door to the second level or the tower open, and then they fly up. And they do manage to distract them. As a matter of fact, Lil actually uses the spell that Luce created to make herself invisible. So she's like, hold your breath. And so she was able, her and Husafer had to hold their breath to be invisible. It's so crazy to me, like how these spells work. But they get up to the tower and, there's nothing up there, but there's a door behind them. And then, of course, the thing that's trying to get them is crawling up the little space. They flew up. And King's hand, accidentally touches the door and the door opens. And when they go in, they see like this, throne. Then basically, King starts having a memory of someone growling and then him hatching, which looks like he came from an egg. And so he put 2 and 2 together and he's like, okay, this must be my father. I don't know why he didn't say mother, but he said father. At the same time, Lil's running around with a camera taking pictures of all the glyphs and stuff on the walls because, she's into that stuff. And I love how she's like, oh, we're focusing on this. And she's like, gives the camera to Husafer and he swallows it. They're like a tag team. I think she found her partner in crime in Hootie. Or at Hoot. So, but when you look at the glyphs later on, you do see that it looks like a very older version of what we've always seen in flashbacks of King as this magnificent king. So King may actually still be the future king of wherever his father's from. We just don't know where they are from. Nobody knows anything about this island, anything about the language. I mean, we just don't know. And King's just made a determination that he is going to find his father. And then the thing that was guarding him or guarding the castle is actually not guarding the castle. It's actually King's bodyguard. It was trying to protect King from Lil, Hoot, Luce, and Ida. So they end up taking it home. So now they got another pet in the house, which is actually very formidable, who might come in handy against the Emperor Bela. So I'm really curious to see how that plays out. But yeah, I think we're going to learn a lot about Baby King. And I think Baby King's father may have been taken. Maybe the Emperor knows about Baby King's dad. Maybe there's maybe there's a lot more shadiness than we think of in this universe. So we know the Emperor is shady. So it would be interesting if King's father was enslaved by the Emperor. So I really want to know how this plays out. But yeah, we got a lot of little exposition on King's backstory, finally. And I thought that was really cool that, they kind of, they didn't definitively say he's not a king, because if you look at the wall, like all of the, like, I'm going to call it, hieroglyphics on the wall, it looks like a very older version of what he would look like if he was a full grown adult. And it looks just like how he pictured himself as, the king before he was shrunk. So I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, good episode. Let's see. They must change the date of Charmed finale because it was originally meant to be on the 16th, and now it's on June 23rd. I thought we had 2 episodes left. I have to check into that. I'll look into that in a second. Baby King is going to be my new screensaver. I mean, I can see that. Like I said, this season for me has been so far. We're only in episode 3, and it has been exciting every week, and we're learning so much every single week. And there's actually development. Even with last week, besides Lumity, we got to see, pretty much Willow's dad. We got to see, everybody's, Gus's parents, and how they treated them when they thought they got suspended from school. We got to see the twins again. And we're getting to see more people. So it's not just Luce and the Owl House and then occasionally seeing her school friends. It's literally what's going on behind the scenes with all of these characters. So I am excited. Luce sounds a little bit older to me, which is interesting. I don't know if it's her voice actress just trying something new, but she definitely sounds a lot different than she did in last season. So I don't know what that is about, because Amity sounds the same. Gus had the puberty voice upgrade. But yeah, everyone else kind of kept their voices, but Luce just sounds a lot more adult. I don't know what that's about. And I feel like she didn't sound that way last week. And as a voice actress, I know you can get sick. They could have had a fill-in for her that may not have even been the actress that normally voices Luce, but she sounded a little different to me. So that may have just been me, but that's how, I saw it. But it's a thing. And then, yeah, like I said, I think the glyphs are going to be very heavy this season, because Luce just coming up with this invisibility one, just on a whim, means that, Lil, who has a lot more, she's a lot smarter than all of them, is probably going to come up with a slew of really cool combat glyphs. Because at the end of the day, Belos is plotting something. We know he's trying to get the portal, or he's fixing the portal back to the human world. We know that he wants, or basically he's funding the Blythe Industry army, a private army, so he can have basically weaponized, weapons against everybody in, Boiling Isles. I mean, he's got a lot of shady stuff coming, and I think they're going to need all the help they can get, because right now with their glyph magic, it's not nearly enough, which means they're going to have allies. And we already know that we can count on, Amity, Gus, and Willow, but we need to count on more than that. So I'm really curious what other characters we're going to see this season, because we're going to probably get a lot more. We're only on episode 3, so we're probably going to get introduced to a lot more powerful characters. And again, I still think that the Golden Guard is going to be a student at Hexside. I don't know why. I feel like he's going to be a student there, and he might actually form attachments to Luce in the group, making him an ally, a conflicted ally, which we've seen in a lot of anime and a lot of TV shows and a lot of tropes. There's always that guy who starts off as a double agent, but then ends up switching sides. So, he may be that double agent that, decides he doesn't like what the Emperor is doing, because right now he is very loyal, because he's treated as the prodigy and the golden child. So it could be a thing. But yeah, I'm really, really excited about that. So originally Charm was only meant to go on break until June 9th, and then 3/17, and then the finale the week after on the 16th. But they're going on break until July 16th instead, probably. Because they didn't have enough episodes. I know in the trailer it said it was coming back on July 16th. Which, is already, just June 26th. So it was already a bit of a wait, but if they really moved it again, that's an entire month to the finale, and that's crazy. But I think we have 2 episodes left. I'm pretty sure we have 2 episodes left. I may be crazy. I'm trying to see if they actually have what I have scheduled for Charmed, because it normally will show sometimes in advance, but put Charmed in, just to see what it says. Okay. So according to my DVR, I mean, it's still showing for me the 16th, which is weird. I don't know. Yeah, it's still showing it's set to record on the 16th of July. I don't know, guys. They could be messing with us. I don't know. But yeah, Owl House, very, very, very good episode. I just want to jump on here and do a very, very quick stream. Like I said, this is just about the Owl House family. So, normally my streams are a little bit longer, but it was just kind of like the character development of King. And King is adorable. I love that Luce basically tried to glue his horn back on. So I was completely down with that. That is I think it's cute, actually. Although I do like him without his little horn. I think he's adorable. Do you think this sort of ties in with episode 1 of season 2? Bellows ordered the sea creature to be slain for some reason. Maybe he ordered the same thing to be done to King's father. I think so, yeah. Slain or captured, because I have a feeling that with the sea creature, it wasn't intelligent. There's a reason King's able to talk. So more than likely, I'm not saying the sea creature wasn't intelligent, but can communicate like a human, or like humans do, or like, I guess, demons and witches in this world do. But since King can talk, I'm assuming the father can talk, and he had a crown on his head in the hieroglyphics. So more than likely, he imprisoned the king instead of murdering the king. I mean, we could find out that he murdered him, which would be very dark. And, I guess for this setting, probably ring true if they're trying to go even darker with the show. But I want to believe that King's father is actually still alive and imprisoned. I think that would be interesting plot-wise. Will they do that? I don't know. But I mean, I just think that would be a really good idea if and then it makes you wonder what else happened. We do know that if the rumors are true, we are going to see Lil and Ida's mother. And I want to know where she's been and what's been going on with her. And part of me wonders if she's a lot like Amity's mother, like all, down for appearances and things like that. But they did say that we should be seeing their mother sometime this season. But that is a rumor. I read that on a rumor board, so don't quote me on that. It's just something that I read. So I am completely down with that. I also want to know why they want Amity to be head of a coven so bad. It's almost like they want her to be the right hand of the emperor, probably to get their family status as the Blythes to be like the most powerful family, ever. Because to me, they're the Malfoys of this universe. I mean, it's just what it is. And the only difference between Draco and Amity is that Amity is into Luce, making her a better character and more likable character. So I don't know. It's interesting. Don't know if people remember, but in season 1, episode 4, Luce calls King Prince. I wonder if that was a clue for season 2. Yeah, I know that the creator did say, she said that there were a lot of things that were Easter eggs in season 1 that would play out in season 2. And so now it has my mind like that reeling too. So yeah, that's a good point. She did refer to him as the little prince. I mean, if this episode is any indication, then it's absolutely true. So more than likely, we might need to go back and revisit season 1 and see what else is coming, because there were a lot of Easter eggs, I think, that we missed in season 1. Star versus the Forces of Evil, Amphibia, and Owl House all have common themes of different dimensions. I think in some way they're connected, because I've seen in the cartoon, there was like an encyclopedia or something of Amphibia. I could be wrong, but I could have swore that that's what I saw in the guy reading in the library. And so that's like a little way, either it's an homage to the show or them tying their universes together. I wouldn't be surprised, especially with Amphibia is concerned, if they were not, related in some way. So yeah, I think that would be very cool to have like a crossover, which could potentially happen as well. That's not the first time that Disney's done something like that. As for Star versus the Forces of Evil, they'll probably have a way of tying that series in too. I mean, more than likely, there could have been an Easter egg that we missed that actually showed something from the series, and we just haven't seen it. That's what I love about this show. There's so many things in the background. If you just blink, you'll miss something. And so, yeah, but I would be cool. It would be cool for me if that was cool. It's only The Flash next week. This is on, SNL is on break. Batwoman would have finished, and Legends is on break, I think, after episode 8. Okay. Yeah, that's going to make Arrowverse Wednesday be very slim, but it is what it is. Superman and Lois and The Flash will definitely be in the stream. So, and Batwoman should be on this Sunday. So I will definitely be doing a Sunday stream right after it airs. Yeah. But yeah, I am really looking forward to episode 4. Again, I am sad. I like having little Lumity moments. I can't help it. I ship them hard. So I want to I know the show's not going to be focused on them, but I love that we have such a cute LGBT couple that has really good representation. And, they're just adorable. And it looked like in last week's episode, Luce was blushing at Amity now. So she's finally seeing this attraction that's been there the whole effing time. So I'm very, very excited for what happens with them, and also very excited. I want to see more Hexside. I love the adventures at Hexside. So I really love when Luce goes back to school. And there's so much that you can learn, because with the Emperor still in power, there's so many things he can do to influence the students, basically based on his evil plan, whatever that is. So I am excited for this season. I loved it. You know, when I saw the trailer, I was excited. I've loved season 1. I'm in love with season 2. So extremely excited. Now I just need to find a plushie, or, you know, one of my, you know, pop dolls for King. So if anybody sees a King pop doll from this series, let me know, because I really want to get one. I got a little bit of a problem. Yes. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And one more question before I'm going to end the stream. It's amazing how pro Luce is with her glyphs now. Yeah, she's rolling. I mean, from in episode 1, when she was on the pirate ship and she was just throwing glyphs out, I mean, epic. And I love that Lil was doing it in this episode. So you saw Lil like throwing glyphs at the creature, or basically King's bodyguard, like just flawlessly. So I love how they're upping the glyph magic. And after a while, who knows? Maybe that's what everyone will have to start using. Maybe the Emperor's overall goal will be to take everybody's magic away just for himself. And everyone's going to have to rely on glyph magic. And that's a good way of keeping Lil in the universe. I mean, keeping Luce in the universe, if she's the one that becomes a teacher of glyph magic. That would be interesting. I think her being in the Boiling Isles is going to really wreck the system and retcon the school and all of that. So I'm excited for it. So yeah. But yeah, and guys, thank you for joining my quick little stream. I just wanted to talk about this show because I love it so much. We will be having our Kung Fu stream later today. I will set it up. So be looking at the community boards. I will set it up when I get back, because I got to leave for a little bit. But if you love Kung Fu, the series, and you basically know that last episode was very cool. So we had a lot to talk about there. Also, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, or theories about what's going to happen from episode 4 on of the Owl House 2, please leave it in the comments below so we can talk about it, because I have theories. I want to know your theories. It is such a cute show. So I want to know what you think is happening in the Owl House for season 2. Will Luce go home? Will the Emperor succeed in going into the human realm? Is he going to invade the human realm? Will we see a connection between the Emperor and Luce? Are they related? Will we find King's father again? What will happen to all of magic in the Boiling Isles? I mean, there's just so much. There's so many things that could happen, and I am extremely excited for it. So yes, let me know what you think is happening in the comments, and be on the lookout for our stream tonight. And if it's day for you guys, because I know we are in different time zones sometimes, then have a very good day. If it is evening for you, then have a very good night, and I will catch you on the